Hi everyone, a bit of a different one today. A couple of years ago, this video was released. It's a short film about gambling addiction. It's called You Only Need to Win Once. And I watched it a little while ago, and I found it very poignant. A lot of you might have seen it. If you spend time here on YouTube looking at gambling recovery and gambling addiction content, you may well have already seen this. It's taken me a little while because I reached out to the makers of this film to ask if I could do a reaction video and repost it. If you haven't seen it already, what I'll do is I'll leave a link in the description to the original video, because I strongly recommend you watch it independently without my input first, and then maybe come back and sort of watch my reaction, because all I want to do is pick out certain parts of the film which I think are particularly poignant, add any sort of constructive criticism I have, anywhere where my experience may differ or indeed may overlap, so you know that once again you're not alone. So let's crack on. Like I say, forgive the unprofessionalism of this. Obviously I'm not a reaction YouTuber, but I did want to share this, and I did want to add my own commentary to it. So if it doesn't work particularly well, my apologies. And like I say, make sure you check out the original film in the link in the description below. I will say, for a relatively low budget production, it's actually quite well shot. This, a lot of the camera work and that's really professional. So hats off to the people who put this together. I'm not a professional videographer, as you can tell, but yeah, I'm quite impressed by the way this is shot.
Do you even know what model it is? Are you even a man?
I don't know anything about cars. Shut up.
Go on, what make?
Fiat, I think.
What do you think?
Oh, maybe it's a Mini. I don't know. It's red and it takes petrol.
I love this. This is a basic human assumption that if you're a bloke, you know about cars, and quite to the contrary, if you're a woman, you don't know about cars and you only know the colour it is. Yeah, nothing about gambling there. Sorry. I'll try not to interrupt quite so much.
Oh, you're useless.
Well, I know things that you don't.
What, like pissing money away? You even got a job yet?
No, not yet. No one's getting back to me. I've got a car now though, so it should be easier.
Walking's quicker, mate. Unless you want a job 10 miles out of the city.
Yeah, true. I was thinking about a courier job though, a Domino's driver or something.
Why, that'd give you plenty of time to plan the slots, wouldn't it?
Nah, I don't do any of that anymore.
Interesting thing here with the body language. Obviously his mate's got his number. And I've spoken before how actually criticism from friends, it can be destructive, but actually if you hear it enough, it might be a trigger to want to be better. It's a delicate line between obviously damaging your self-esteem beyond repair, where you then go and lean more into your vices and into your addictions in order to escape from your perceived self-hatred. But sometimes gentle ribbing from friends can be a constant reminder that it is, acknowledged that you have this problem. And you can see here when he's denying that he's continuing to gamble, he's denying that he's playing the slots. I'm not doing any of that anymore. He's looking down, he's not making eye contact, basically to demonstrate the fact he's quite clearly lying.
Yeah?
Yeah. What are you doing later?
I've got work in 2 hours, so I'm going off to Claire's parents' house today.
Mate, do you mind spotting me for my food? I'll get it back to you.
Again?
Mate, I'll get you the money, I promise.
Yeah, been there.
Okay. But soon, yeah?
Very soon. How much now?
Well, it's 50-something pounds, mate.
Easy.
You only need to win once, right?
James, don't be a dick. I'm going to get you the money.
Again, this is another very telltale sign. Someone suffering with gambling addiction is literally how they can react, and dare I say overreact, to the mere implication that they're gambling, the mere suggestion that they have a problem, and they can quite often flare up, become incredibly defensive, aggressive, even confrontational, because obviously it's a very, very raw nerve and it's very, very close to the surface, and so any challenge to it can often lead to a reaction, as we see here.
Did I say you weren't?
Look, 50 quid's easy, mate. I can win it for you.
It's more like 60 quid, mate. I thought you were going to get yourself a job.
Just don't worry about it, okay?
What I quite like about this scene is that it's so juxtaposed to the vision of gambling that we are promoted through gambling advertising and through other means such as sort of online content, streamers, that sort of thing. Where it seemed as sort of this fun, high energy, high velocity. That's not really a word, but just a fun, very bright, very colourful, very enjoyable experience. And here we have this sort of grey, washed out looking, scene with this grey, washed out looking person on their own, on their phone. No sound, no flashing lights, no buzzes, no bells. Nothing exciting about this. Just sheer bleak desperation, which in so many instances for people who are suffering from this addiction, that's all gambling is. You've lost the fun, you've lost the buzzers and bells and the flashing lights and the excitement and the adrenaline and the high tempo. And all you're left is with this grey, washed out feeling, this grey, washed out scene of you sitting there isolated on your own, on your phone, desperately hoping for a result to repair a little bit of the damage that you've done previously. Obviously relying on the same thing that got you into this mess to get you back out of it, which of course is, a fool's errand. Not to say, of course, gamblers are fools. They are, myself included, very ill individuals.
Oh, fuck off.
The long walk home. Been there. This bloke's obviously been to the
Brady Thornhill.
School of Bailiff Stereotypes.
Are you going somewhere? Yeah, I clumped it, mate. Got a piece of paper here saying you owe money to Quick Cash Online. So where's the money, mate?
I don't have the money just yet. I need to get to work.
Says here you haven't even got a job.
Look, I will get you the money. Just unlock my car, please.
It's not going to happen, mate. Listen, I have the authority to take this money back today and in full. So let's stop messing around and get this sorted.
Can I?
Right. One thing I'll say here, and this isn't detracting from the film and the message, and obviously certainly not detracting from the fact that gambling and borrowing from subprime lenders can get you in an awful lot of trouble and awfully quickly. The reason I'm saying this is if you're in this situation, I don't want people to massively panic unnecessarily. There is, generally speaking, an awful lot of stages between not making a payment on a payday loan or a credit card or whatever, and ending up with big blokes, look like this, knocking on your door. All right, it's not going to happen overnight. If you've missed a payment, if you missed a couple of payments on your loan, all right, it's unlikely that someone is going to come to your house, clamp your car, knock on your door, take your stuff. Now, I know this is being done for dramatic effect, and actually it's very important to highlight the quick, the speed at which you can get yourself into financial difficulty whilst you stay in the grip of this addiction. But if you are someone who's struggling to make repayments on loans and credit cards, then negotiate an arrangement, even if it's £1 a month, and then that will then lift that extra element of stress that you can really live without, to be honest, if you're trying to get into some form of lasting recovery.
Give it back in instalments? Can I set up a plan or something?
Not going to happen, mate. I'm going to come inside and have a look.
Why? Why can't I pay back in small bits? I don't have the money right now, honestly.
The debt will only get bigger the longer you leave.
Like I say, if you do, ultimately any debt can end up in this situation where they get a writ or whatever to come and repossess your property. Very unlikely in the most instances, particularly with smaller debts like payday loans and credit cards. It can end up in this situation if you don't address it, but you do have lots of time to address it. You just need to do it as quickly as possible.
Leave it. I'm going to come inside and have a look. Come on, get out of my way.
Excuse me. What do you think you're doing?
I'm here to collect a debt from Brady Thornhill.
And who sent you?
I'm a private contractor, sir.
Yeah, I guess that, but who sent you?
That's really relevant to you, sir. I'm here to collect a debt from your son. It's the law.
Bollocks. You ain't coming to my house.
I've got the paperwork right here, mate.
Bollocks. Get your phone out and film him now. All right, sir. I would like you to go on record and say how you think you could enter my house.
That's not what I said.
Yes, you bloody did.
You know what? If you're not going to listen, I'll get the police down here. They'll
Okay.
sort it out.
Well, go on then. I'm sure they know the law better than you do.
I'll be back another time.
Yeah. Go.
There is an interesting point there that if he is just a private debt collector, they are able to send people to your house, and they'll do it under the guise of negotiating a settlement or reaching out to you in person. They'll use all this sorts of language with the underlying threat, of course, of someone coming to your house, which we've seen through films and movies and what have you, that bailiffs and debt collectors are really scary and it's a thing to be avoided at all costs. They have every right to send someone to your house to come and talk to you or to reach out to you to discuss a way to repay your debt. What they don't have is the authority to come and repossess goods unless they go through the court system.
Off my property. Absolute disgrace. Absolute disgrace. Wait a minute, put a clamp on my car. Oi! You! Get this clamp off my car now!
That clamp will be removed when the debt gets paid off. You try and remove it, you'll be breaking the law. I'll be back another time, like I said. Don't touch me! We're on the street now, you ain't touching me.
I'll get the police out to you.
I must admit, I don't know the laws around vehicle clamping. I would suggest, unless he has the legal right to do so, and the car is parked legally, that you wouldn't have the authority to do that. But yeah, shouldn't quote me on that.
It can't be next Thursday, it's got to be today. If you're not open on Sundays, then why isn't they taking calls?
You didn't deserve that. Not at all.
I was just trying to leave the house.
Just thuggy people. They're the ones that want to be bailiffs. Do you want a cup of tea?
They can't do anything about it till Friday.
I've spoken lots in some of my videos previously. I appreciate I'm making this video far longer than maybe it should have been, but there's a lot of points raised by this film that I want to address. Made a point recently about how gambling is a secretive addiction, and quite often we keep it a secret for so long that it's only when things come to an unavoidable head and actually the secret addiction becomes visible to the outside world. In this instance, portrayed by this obviously bailiff turning up and the fallout from that, it's only then, and quite often past the point where we could have addressed our problems, that other people around us become aware of the situation that we've put ourselves in, which can actually be, in some respects, a benefit, because it forces our hand then to both address the problem at hand, but also open up to the people often closest to us who can form part of our ongoing support network throughout our recovery.
My car is parked in front of yours, so I don't know what you're going to do till then. Absolute wankers.
I'm sorry.
Sorry's not good enough, Brady. How much do you owe?
He could have got that out. He could have got that car out. A little bit of
Only
shimmying,
100
97-point turn. He'll be out.
It was £100 when you got the loan. It'll be double that by now. Do you realise how serious this is?
Dad, it's fine, honestly.
No, Brady, it is not fine. People don't just forget about debt. It's a whole sodding industry. I knew you weren't responsible to have a car.
The car has nothing to do with it.
George.
No. It's about time he learned. It's just typical of you. Every time we give you any kind of responsibility, you go and abuse it. I'm taking you off the insurance, and you are going to get a job. Any job at all until you pay that loan off.
But it's just going to keep growing. I'm not going to have enough money in time.
You better get a job quickly then, hadn't you? And get the Sodding gambling sites.
It's not healthy, love.
It's not them that's the problem. I'm just not hearing back from any jobs.
Well, what if we gave you some money towards it?
No, Ava, he's got to learn sometime.
He can pay us back. No use the debt growing. We can pay.
I must admit that when I came clean and spoke about my addiction to my parents, the hardest thing was that feeling of shame. And I think there's no coincidence in the way they filmed this, and the fact that the young lad who's the addict is sat down with the two parents sort of standing up, because it gives him the impression that he feels much shorter, much smaller, and much less sort of significant than they are in this particular scene. And I don't think that's a coincidence, because that is exactly how you feel sometimes when you open up to people, which is essential in many respects, but you do end up feeling sort of this big. But like I say, it's sometimes an essential step to get you onto the right path.
It off and Brady can get it back to us.
Yeah, I will. I promise.
He'd better.
£100.
I genuinely cannot count in hours the amount of times I spent on my laptop desperately looking for some payday lender I hadn't used, some source of credit that I could actually obtain with the shocking credit score I had. Hours and hours just looking for some form of lifeline, and then squandering said lifeline.
Oh yeah, this is Brady Thornhill. I took a loan out from you. I've just realised I don't need the money anymore. You know, I literally just took the money out.
It's sort of an irrelevant point, but I think in most instances you will have a calling off period, typically 14 days for any form of loan, and I do believe that includes short-term payday loans and indeed pawnbroking. If you can actually cancel your contract within 14 days, which is a loophole which I'm not going to go into here, but yeah.
Nothing you can do. Oh, is this quick cash online? Yeah, this is Brady Thornhill. I have an overdue loan that I need to pay off. Yeah. What? Yeah, I know it's increased. I just wanted to ask if I can pay off the amount I initially borrowed. I can't afford the full amount right now, and no, I need more time. Right. Okay. I understand.
I will just stop here very quickly. I've gone into depth about gambling debt and managing creditors and things like that. Like I say, this is no criticism of this film, which I think is brilliantly put together, and it actually exposes some really serious points. However, a lot of the the conversations and stuff in here are inaccurate. Obviously, they're dramatised for effect. If you contact your creditors, they are normally pretty helpful. They would always recommend doing it in writing rather than over the phone. But like I say, I have made videos previously about managing gambling debt, so I won't keep pausing this film to talk about it. Check out those videos, and yeah, if you are in that position, and you may be able to get some sort of advice from there. If not, there will, as always, be links in the description to debt management companies and things like that are able to help you.
Nah, babe. You can't get over that easy. Look, I've got your rotors on my phone. You can check anytime. No, it's definitely your turn to cook, Claire. Look, no, I'll eat whatever. It's fine. I love you, yeah? Just don't poison me. For fuck's sake.
I am, as a self-confessed fruit machine nerd, going to overlook all the inconsistencies in the following scenes and concentrate on the message, because I think that's far more important than yeah, all the technical errors that I'm, and possibly a lot of you guys, were going to notice in the coming scenes. So yeah, don't imagine it's gone unnoticed, but I think the message is more important than the technical accuracy, shall we say.
Randy, what are you doing? Wait a minute, what have I told you?
Yeah, I know. It's all right,
Get a job.
Yeah, I'm looking, no one's getting back to me.
You're not looking hard enough. It's easy to get a job.
Yeah, sure.
Don't put fucking money in there. What have I told you?
Yeah, I know you told me, but it's fine.
Is it? You're not going to win that money.
You know what? As much as I really feel for the guy in this scene, that the friend is actually being a far better friend than many of the others who'll tell you things like, "Oh, it's your money, you spend it on what you like. Oh, don't worry," you know, or even the ones that enable you by offering to lend the money. In the first instance, of course, that is more comforting. It relieves some of the immediate financial stress and the other stresses that causes. However, this guy in this scene, the friend, is actually being a far better friend and actually doing, you know, taking on the conflict and risking losing a friend and risk, you know, confrontation and aggression and all the rest of it in order to try and help him in the long run and actually give him advice and put him on the right path. If you've got friends like this, these are far, you know, better. I'm not saying they're better friends, but they are far more helpful in the early stages of recovery than those who sort of wash it away and say, "Oh, don't worry about it, you know, it's your money," or they even offer to lend you money, which ultimately only exacerbates the problem.
For me, yeah?
You don't know that.
You know what I do? A job's easier. When are you going to fucking learn? Listen to me, yeah? I'm only looking out for you.
Yeah, alright.
Don't bother putting money in that again.
Alright, whatever. Alright. Cool.
What I think is very clever with this is they obviously show the security camera footage, and because it's all black and white and from a distance, it actually gives you a sort of almost a third-party perspective on what's going on in this scene, and you see it from the perspective of an outsider, of a non-gambler, of someone who doesn't suffer from this addiction, and you can look on, and you can almost see how preposterous, how ridiculous the idea that this young lad who's got into this situation, both in terms of his addiction and also his financial situation, and how he's trying to lift himself out of a situation by doing the same thing that got him in the problem he's got in the first place. It also helps you oversee just how preposterous it is that you're trying to fix a financial situation by gambling on a device that is designed to take your money. But it's only when you take that step back, in this case, shown by the security camera footage, that you can see the overview of just how ridiculous the notion of winning back your losses is. And again, I'm not going to go into technicalities of fruit machines and RTPs and compensation and all that sort of thing. But as an overview, I think it's a very powerful image.
Hi, Mum.
Hi, love. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
What time will you be back from work?
Not long, but don't lock up just in case.
I know you don't want to talk about it, but you are keeping up to date with the payment schedule, aren't you?
Sorry, Mum, I've not been able to. The shop won't pay enough to the end of the month.
Are you sure you can't ask?
No, I can't ask. They'll probably fire me.
Okay then, love. I trust you, but do try and get that money sorted. The loan company still needs more to cover the extra fees.
Attendance fees.
Yes, well, you want to get those out of the way as soon as you...
Yeah, I will, Mum.
I know. I just
I'm
worry.
okay.
Just work hard, okay?
Yeah, I know. I will.
I know you can do it. Oh, by the way, there's a lot of mail here for you.
This was another trigger to sort of make me open up a little bit, is the ever-increasing amount of letters that I was receiving at my home address, which I shared with my wife, or my now wife at least. When you're receiving sort of half a dozen letters a day from various companies who all want money from you, it becomes very hard to justify this sudden bombardment of post plopping through the mailbox every morning, even if she never opened my letters or nothing like that. But it became almost impossible to disguise the fact there was something going on. And even at that time, if she didn't know what it was, it would require some form of explanation almost imminently. So that was another factor which led up to me eventually confessing, opening up and talking about my addiction, which, as much as I hate to bang on about it, was probably the best thing I could ever do.
I'm not sure. Do you want me to open it for you?
No, I'll do it.
Okay.
See you in a bit.
A lot of tension in this scene. Obviously, he's checked his bank account, he's got no money. That's pretty par for the course. Reached his pocket, got a few quid left, and then you have that logical part of your brain which is saying, well, you've got a few quid, you can get some food or you can get some fuel or whatever. And then you've got that rational part of your brain saying, look, stop now and you will survive, against the gambling part of your brain, the demons that are telling you, actually, stick that money in this machine and you can get back a whole lot more, and your situation will be alleviated, if not fixed altogether. that there is not elation in the win, that is relief from the destruction that was almost inevitable. And obviously in this instance, he's won, but yeah, it would very, it was very, very likely to go completely the other way. Hi, editing Phil from the future here. Unfortunately, I had to remove a section of the audio at this point because the next 30 seconds included some sort of copyrighted music. Obviously, I don't mind the original owner of the film claiming the copyright for this this reaction video, because yeah, obviously I've uploaded the whole thing, but I don't want someone who's put some proprietary background music in to yeah, be able to claim the video on mine and on their behalf. So you have me talking over the top. Obviously, we can see that he's finally won some money back here. Anyway, on with the commentary. One of the things we often talk about as a real symptom of gambling addiction is chasing your losses. Basically, when you've lost, well, exactly that really, going back and, going back to the same machine, or doubling up on different sports, or, doubling your money on roulette, or whatever it is that you're gambling on. Basically, consistently trying to get back the money you've lost already through the same method that you've lost the money in the first place. And that's the thing we talk about quite a lot. What we don't talk about often is that desire that we receive after we've got that dopamine hit, that relief, whether that be the elation of a win or the relief of avoiding a loss or minimising a loss. We have all those endorphins and what have you, which then drives us to do exactly what this young man's doing here, which is going back and trying to win some more, probably on the basis that, well, actually I've won some now, my problem is partially fixed, I've partially resolved the situation I'm in. If I continue to do that, if I can just do that one more time, then my problem will be fixed altogether. And obviously we'll see what happens, but I think we know. Now, this is a bit that actually makes me quite emotional, because this is something I spoke about recently, about burning lifelines. You get, occasionally, particularly financially, when you've got an addiction, you get thrown a bone. You get either, maybe a tax rebate, maybe you manage to borrow some money off family or friends. Maybe if you are still gambling, you do get a win. Something comes along that helps alleviate the situation you're in, and there's that moment of relief. And then what happens is, because you have that comfort, you believe that actually you can go back and you can have a little gamble and it will be absolutely fine. It's not going to cause you any problems. And then you end up back in this situation where you've burnt the entirety of that lifeline. And then you have to look back retrospectively, not only at the damage that you did leading up to that point, but the fact that you had a way out of this horrible situation you were in, and you've lost it, you've burnt it, and that's not coming back. And quite often, it particularly if it's in the case of a loan, be that from an organisation or from friends or family, not only do you not have that lifeline, you don't have that bridge, you also now have extra debt, extra stress, extra liabilities on top, which you are, again, unable to repay. I will say, I think the emotions portrayed in the scene are brilliant. I think he does a really good job, this young lad, of really portraying that desperation, anger, relief, the whole cycle of emotions you go through as a gambler, often in such a short period of time. There is that feeling of being alone, which again that security camera footage portrays so well, of just being isolated. Obviously he's walking home, he's obviously going to be later home than he expected to be, and there's all those thoughts, all these feelings going through your head, not just the regret of the loss, all the heightened and lowered emotions that he's experienced in the previous scene, but also knowing that he's going to go home, to questions which he's not going to be able to answer, and that basically time is running out, for him to keep this addiction a secret and to keep the treadmill going and keep himself afloat. And this can go in a multitude of different ways. Like I said before, this can force you to open up sometimes and actually get the help that maybe you need, but it can go other ways as well.
see you. What's up?
Oh, you're all right, Eva. I'm good, thanks. How's you and George?
Oh, we're same old at the moment. A bit frazzled recently, but...
That's one thing we don't see. Whether or not we've actually come clean about our addiction, it's quite often apparent to those closest to us that there's something amiss. We sometimes dress it up as other problems in our lives, work stresses or other problems to disguise the true problem. But what we don't realise is, regardless of whether or not we're being honest, quite often this, our issues can cause problems both for those closest to us and both for ourselves, but also those closest to us who will either pick up or sense that our desperation, our depression, our addiction and our mental health struggles, and it will weigh very heavy on those people who care about us but maybe don't know how to best address the problem.
Doing just fine. George has just popped to work now, actually, so just me and Brady in right now.
George has got to work this early.
Yeah, he's having to carpool at the moment. They came and clamped the Mini, so it's been a bit of a nightmare for us at the moment.
Well, you should just cycle.
I've already suggested that to him, but he never listens.
So, Brady's in, yeah?
He is, yes, but I think he must still be in bed. He had a long shift last night, apparently. Come on in, James. I'll put the kettle on.
That's okay, Ava. Just came to talk to him quickly, and then I've got to get to work.
Oh, okay. Well, have a good day then, love. And wait Brady up for me, will you?
I think this is so brilliantly shot because it's almost like he knows the situation and he's actually afraid to address it, and if he opens that door he's going to need to address the situation.
Brady. Hey man, you up? Listen, I just want to talk, yeah? Last night was a fucking disgrace. I'm sorry for blowing up at you like that. I know you struggle with that stuff and I shouldn't have lost my shit, yeah? I just want to help you. Look, I'm sorry for the way I acted, okay? But I still stand by what I said. You've got to stop lying and telling people you've got a job and just come clean. It'll make everything better. Yeah, that is shit. But you're making it a bigger deal than it actually is.
I don't mean to stop such a poignant scene, but what you just said there, debt is shit, but you're making it a bigger deal, and it does become a bigger deal. Everything becomes a bigger deal. What to a non-addict would seem like something, I need to get that sorted, I need to contact that creditor, I need to tell them I can't pay it. I mean, all these creditors have got, departments mostly to deal with people who aren't able to pay their debts. It's a well-trodden path. Like I say, they normally have staff specifically trained to deal with these situations and set up payment plans and do this sort of thing, but in the mind of an addict, everything becomes inflated. Typically stupid o'clock in the morning when you can't sleep and you catastrophize everything, and ultimately you don't see a way out.
That's what they do. They get in your head, man. They make you think it's the end of the world, but it ain't. You just gotta stand up and deal with it. You can do it, man. I'm coming in.
Sends shivers to my soul, this good.
Brady!
So powerful at the end there. Both the monologue from the friend and obviously the final scene. I haven't got much more to add, but a very powerful film. Thank you to the guys who made it for letting me share it and for letting me comment on it. if you are suffering with financial issues, or indeed, psychological mental health issues or addiction, links in the description below as always. Samaritans in the first instance, if you are feeling that low and like there's no way out. GamStop to help prevent you from gambling online. GamCare for 24/7 counselling support. Yeah, that's that's kind of it for me. Thanks again to the guys who made this film. Yeah, please, for the love of everything, just stay sane and don't. There's a better path. Trust me. All the best, everyone.